meeting is called to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Person.
Here.
Mr. Prince.
Here.
Mr. Corman.
Here.
Mr. Pavoni.
Here.
Ms. Perez.
Here.
Mr. McIrvin.
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
Thanks, Jason. First item on the agenda are a couple of proclamations.
Okay, the first proclamation is Indigenous Peoples Day. Whereas Columbus Day is observed as a federal holiday established by order of President Roosevelt in 1937 and provides an opportunity to reflect on the colonization of North America by Europeans, and whereas the European colonization of North America also led to the suppression, forced assimilation, and genocide of indigenous peoples and their cultures, and whereas indigenous peoples of the Puget Sound region enjoyed and exhibited a rich, diverse culture, enduring spirit that continues to be celebrated to this day in Renton and throughout the region, and whereas the City of Renton values the historic and contemporary contributions made to this community by all our region's past and present indigenous peoples, and whereas Indigenous Peoples Day was first proposed in 1977 by a delegation of Native nations to the United Nations-sponsored International Conference on Discrimination Against Indigenous Populations in the Americas, and whereas in 2011, the affiliated tribes of Northwest Indians, representing 59 tribes, passed resolution number 1157, support to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, and whereas recognizing Indigenous peoples on the second Monday of October would help provide a more balanced representation of our region's cultural history and constitute a small act of restitution for the hardships endured by indigenous peoples since the onset of European colonization of the Americas. And whereas the City of Renton celebrates diversity, equity, and inclusion, and is committed to promoting respect for and understanding of the region's indigenous community, their long history, and their continuing contribution to contemporary society. Now therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim October 14, 2019 to be Indigenous Peoples Day in the City of Renton, and I encourage all members of the community to join me in this special observation, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 14th day of October 2019, signed Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. McIrvin, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I want to thank Councilmember McIrvin for bringing this forward as something that we should consider as a proclamation in light of our total commitment to being an inclusive community. And Ryan, if you don't mind going up and City Clerk could present you with that proclamation, and maybe you could say a few words.
Sure.
Thanks, Taylor.
I guess I'll do it down here because I'm already down here, so why not? Slightly different viewpoint down here. Thank you.
It is.
First one of these. Thank you for adopting this proclamation. I think it's significant that we're doing this today on Columbus Day. We certainly aren't the first city in the region to do this, and we're probably not the last, but I do think that is an important and symbolic gesture. So without further ado, I would like to acknowledge here that we are now in the area known as see if I can read what I write. I would like to acknowledge that the area now known as Renton is located on the traditional land of the Coast Salish people who have been living and working on this land since time immemorial, and the home of the Duwamish people past and present. And today we honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it through many generations. This calls us to commit to learning how to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as well. And I ask that we take this opportunity to thank the original caretakers of the land who are still here with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Jason, you,
Yes, sir. We have an added proclamation. This one is for honorary Renton residents. Whereas the Renton Sister Cities Association and the City of Renton work in partnership to enhance resident understanding and appreciation for other cultures and promote international goodwill and cooperation through people-to-people relationships worldwide. And whereas Renton's sister city relationship with Nishiwaki, Japan began in 1969 when a sister city alliance was forged by the Renton Lions Club with support of other civic organizations to promote mutual understanding and goodwill between the United States and Japan. And whereas to enhance the sister city relationship with Nishiwaki, Renton City Council in 1994 passed a resolution establishing an official City of Renton Nishiwaki Sister City Committee. And whereas the Washington Hyogo Japan Sister State Association further strengthens the relationship between Renton and Nishiwaki, and whereas the sister city relationship has expanded our community's understanding of other cultures by promoting an awareness of cultural diversity and providing opportunities for social, cultural, and educational enrichment, and whereas the City of Renton and Nishiwaki, Japan are celebrating 50 years of being sister cities. Now therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim all members of the Nishiwaki delegation visiting Renton, Washington on October 17, 2019 to be honorary Renton residents in the City of Renton, and I encourage the community to join me in this special observance. And witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 14th day of October 2019, signed Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Mr. Person.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We're real excited to have the mayor of Nishiwaki as well as the delegation here this week. I know a lot of you are going to be involved in some of those activities, and so we're looking forward to seeing them. Okay, moving on to administrative report, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, City Council. I have one item for you this evening. Tomorrow, at Jones Park, Trelstad Tree Service will be removing a large elm tree that has developed Dutch elm disease. While no lane closures will be needed, nearby parking will be coned off during the removal of that tree. The remaining 2 elm trees that are still within Jones Park will receive preventative treatments for the disease. Unfortunately, that has been proven to be pretty fatalistic for elm trees in the long run. So, but we're doing what we can to help preserve them. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bob. All right, moving on to audience comments. We have 2 people signed up to address the council. When I call your name, please come to the podium, give your name and city of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes. First is Carrie Marino.
Good evening. I'm Kari Marino, representing Verizon Wireless, and I live in Bellevue, Washington. And I just wanted to thank you for supporting our franchise application request that you'll be hearing tonight. This allows us to continue our strategic infrastructure planning and engineering. You may know or may not know, mobile data usage has increased at least 8 times, or at least 40 times in the last 8 years. Most homes are wireless only now, and at least 80% of 911 calls originate on wireless phones or cell phones, and first responders rely heavily on cellular services. So anyways, robust wireless service is critical for everyone, and I want to thank you for your time and attention.
You bet. Thank you. Next is Jason Collins.
Okay. This isn't just a Washington problem, but it's like everywhere, right? Like a municipality takes and runs your food stamps, your SNAP, right? And they get a wooden nickel or a fucking paper dollar, right? And the dollar goes and deteriorates in your pocket, right? How many, they're pulling food stamps for anybody on Social Security. Have you guys heard about this, right? So in order to save money on Social Security, how many of those dollars are actually turned in at the end of the day, and can you relocate that money back into social service, elderly people's food stamps? On top of that, if you're under 65, you should get in and get all your stuff done on Obama's plan, because once you hit 5, you are no longer, you have to pay your copay, your you get all the regular stuff that we're all used to doing before the Obamacare plan, right? So if you can get in before 65, you should get in before 65. Since we're washing a ton of stamps here, I was wondering if we look into whether or not individual women that have a children, right? If you take the child out of the family, right, put it into foster care, then you pay $1,500 flat rate. You don't have to deal with HUD and HEN and Section 8 and all this, so it subsidizes housing. And a place where you're spending $1,400 on a 2-bedroom or more, it costs the government less money to ship the kid out to Eastern Washington to do a foster care, despite the fact that you can either invest in a kid's future or you can tear a kid's future away, whether it be a rape or grades going down or social groups, right? That I know that allows the government to take the income tax out of the lady's check after she loses her kids, right? Because she's not going to be. They can also make the interest off top of that. And then, all right, so you get a man, right? And any person, period, right? If a person runs, right, they get beat by the cops, fact, right? I mean, we all know this. So you get beat by the cop, right? You end up getting put in jail, and that for the time period of your face unswelling, all right? And if this is over 30 days, right? I've caught 2 charges, and you guys dropped them at 45 days, which I understand you can't get people in to do jury duty, and that's half the point. That's why you need a mailbox for all the homeless people, because you can get them in to do jury duty for $60 any day of the week, I guarantee it. But so you get you drop charges after 45 days, right? You lose everything to your landlord on a 30-day abandonment law. The abandonment law doesn't fit in with the right to a speedy trial. But so the guy goes in, and after, I mean, you already got beat by the cops, probably never going to run again, right? So why are we charging with people resisting arrest right after you? But I mean, and then you until their face isn't, so they can't take pictures of how bad it really was when they got arrested, right? Like the next day. Anyway, so and there was one other thing, but I can't remember what it was, but right along. I don't know. Anyway, just the food stamp thing is really a big deal, because when you're on fixed income and you live in a city where in '84 you could buy a house for $36,000 or $60,000, right? Then you get on fixed income, and everything in the city is 3 times as expensive as you expected it to be, right? They can't just lose their food stamps. Now, food stamps maybe make you. I mean, I'm homeless, right? So I don't get a choice on it, right? But like, I can't cook and then put it in the freezer or put it in the microwave to make sure the bread lasts longer, right? From scratch, which is a huge impact on your pocketbook. So the food stamps only last me $15 at $200 a month, right? And that's like eating. I mean, you could eat a 7-Eleven pizza, but you'd probably die of nutrition problems. Not that I want to eat a 7-Eleven pizza. You just can't eat the same thing every day, right? There's only so many things you can eat for $5, right? So, I don't know. It's a big deal to the elders, I don't know, the adult community to not lose their food stamps over something that probably every municipality does across the entire nation, just to make an extra $2,000, you know, like you put it back in and maybe they won't lose it. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Next is the consent agenda. We have 11 items for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the consent agenda be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Corman, that the consent agenda be adopted as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Person.
Yes, I have one committee report.
Okay, Committee of the Whole Committee Report, RMC 2214 regarding Renton Regional Fire Authority Governing Board Code Amendment. The Committee of the Whole recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to amend Renton Municipal Code, RMC 2-21-4, in order to clarify term language for Renton Regional Fire Authority board members. The committee further recommends that the ordinance regarding this matter be presented for first reading and subsequent adoption. This is signed by the council president.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the committee report be approved as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that council concur with the Committee of the Whole report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, Mr. Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr.
Okay,
Mayor.
Mr. Corman.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Pavoni.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. McGurven.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moving on to legislation. We have one ordinance this evening.
Okay, the ordinance is regarding the term clarification for board members for the Renton Regional Fire Authority. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Section 2-21-4 of the Renton Municipal Code by updating Renton Regional Fire Authority governing board term language, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, moving on to new business. Mr. Person.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that the public hearing for October 21st on I-976 be canceled.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that council cancel the public hearing that was scheduled for October 21st for Initiative 976. Any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One no.
And
The
then,
ayes have it.
Mr. Mayor, also then on Monday, October 21st at 6 p.m., the Committee of the Whole will meet in the conferencing center. There's two topics. Number one is affordable housing / senior housing brainstorming and emerging issues in city business.
Okay. Mr. Prince.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee will be meeting Monday, October 21st at 4:30 in the council conference room. We have 8 items to discuss. The first is utility leak adjustment, MVP dental. Second is Symetra stop-loss contract. Third is Sunset Neighborhood Park bid award. Fourth is capital projects coordinator hire at Step E. Fifth is new judicial position in court. Sixth is civil engineering 3 in CED hire at Step E. 7 is school crossing ILA. 8th is voucher. 9th is emerging issues in finance. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. You're going to be busy.
We
Short
are.
meeting.
Ms. Perez.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and Mr. McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just want to announce that the Transportation Committee scheduled for Monday, October 21st, has been canceled.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the city attorney? No? What's the wish of the
I move
attorney?
we adjourn.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.